Hi everyone, it's Jill Foster here for Penny Black, and I am so excited to be sharing with you today our new collection called Springtime 2022. And this collection is full of gorgeous florals, cute critters, some new masterpieces made simple. So stay tuned here, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll take a look at everything that's included. First, we'll take a look at the sentiments in this collection, and go ahead and just hit pause if you want to take a closer look at what all of these say. But this first set is a really great collection for birthdays or special days called Older, not Older, Better. And here's a card where I've included that. And all of these sentiments I have used throughout all the cards in this entire video. So I'm just giving you a look at them to start with, and then you can see them as we continue. This next one is 30-827, kind of an encouragement and sympathy set, really beautiful, comforting sentiments. I really love that those are included here. Next, we have 30-899 and some really fun sentiments here just for reasons to smile. And this set is called Smile. So here is a look at one of those sentiments on a card. Now, the new stamps on these cards you'll be seeing in just a moment too. This is 30-898, Love Big, and just lots of great sentiments on here about life and love and can be used for lots of different occasions. And then we have a look now at backgrounds. So this release we have two background stamps which I think are so versatile. You can use these year round for really any type of occasion. The first is 40-780 letter background, and I love that this is our cling stamp so you can use it in your stamp positioning tools or on your acrylic blocks. I think it just adds such a nice finishing touch. Great for florals, Christmas cards, really any occasion. And the same goes for this one. This is 40-781 music background, and I've used that on several cards too. I love using these and just inking up a part of the stamp or even dabbing up some of the ink with a paper towel or a baby wipe before I stamp it. And you get this sort of vintage, some areas of light, some areas of dark look to the stamping, like you can see here where I've done that with the flowers and just spotlighted sort of a portion of that music note background onto my card. Now we will take a look at our brushstroke stamps. Now brushstroke stamps are similar to a silhouette or solid image, and they're designed to give you the look that you have painted the image onto your card as opposed to stamping an outline and coloring it in. So the first here is 40-828 Fresh Spring. Now this card I have done all of the stamping using mini ink pads and a stamp positioning tool and sometimes a touch of markers here and there directly onto my stamp. Now for this second card sample, I've done more watercoloring with that. So I just wanted to show you that with these brushstroke stamps, you can do very simple stamping using your ink pads and your stamp positioning tool, or you can do more detailed watercolor stamping and painting. This is 40-830 Tulip Treasure. I think this arrangement is so beautiful and so graceful. Again, this is a card sample where I did the stamping using just my ink pads to the stamp and then a little bit of markers to the stamp. And we have lots of videos on our brushstroke stamps, so if you check out our channel, you can see lots of different ways and techniques you can use with these stamps. This is 40-821 Modesty. This first card features stamping using just markers and ink pads, so you don't have to paint at all to get beautiful stamping and cards with these. These are nice large stamps too, because these cards here with these brushstroke stamps are 5x7 size. So you can use them on smaller cards or nice large cards. Here's one where I stamped with Distress ink pads, and then I blended with water and did some shading with Distress ink re-inkers used as watercolors after I had stamped the image. This is 40-831 Distinctive. I love the uniqueness of this stamp. It's really nice for layering, or you can do it very simply like I've done on this card. That rectangle in the background, I just used painter's tape to mask off the edges of the card and then applied ink using ink blending tool and a foam pad to the background. Here I've done more of a watercolor look using my Distress inks and Distress ink re-inkers and some layered stamping in the background. Another brushstroke stamp set that is so fun. This is 40-834 Farm Fresh. Lots of different ways to use this stamp. I love these pictures with the flowers growing out. These are actually very, very easy to do. So if you are new to brushstroke stamping, I highly recommend these because the surface area of the stamp is pretty small. Now, if you don't want to use the pictures, you don't have to. You can just not ink them or mask off the part of your card like I've done here and just use the floral stamps. So lots of versatility with this set. You can even combine them like I've done here to just create some flowers in the background. Again, I didn't use the pictures with that, just the flowers. And then we also have 40-835 Sweet Sprouts. I've just done a cute little card here with a couple of these on here. These also make a very nice background or tone-on-tone layered stamping if you're doing a scene. Now we have in the spring collection lots of elegant line art stamps. So these are stamps you can stamp down and then paint inside. Paint or use your markers or colored pencils, whatever you like to color with. The first is 40-818 Pansies, and I've done with these to try to give you a couple of ideas on how you can do them. This is a no-line watercolor look where I stamped with Memento ink in the color of desert sand and then painted with Distress ink re-inkers used as watercolors. But here's a card with that same stamp. I've just stamped that with black ink and then very quickly painted that in with watercolors, not using a lot of fancy shading techniques or anything, just adding color to the image. Here is 40-829 Springtime Table. Again, this is one where I just stamped it in black ink and then I painted it in, not using any shading. If you look close, it's just solid red, solid yellow, blue, green. Just painted it in. It's so simple but so beautiful. This is a really unique stamp, 40-832 Delicate. Here I stamped it off the edge of my card, and this one I did use a no-line watercolor technique. This was such fun to color. I really love all things spring, and this one certainly embodies that. And then here I use that same stamp and I just stamped it in black and then quickly painted it in with watercolors. So two different ways where you can use that stamp no matter what you're in the mood to do or if you're new to stamping or a veteran stamper. This is 40-846 Garden Fragrance. I've used this on several cards. Here I've stamped it and done the no-line watercolor technique and more on those dies here that I've used to embellish this card. But it is so beautiful, you really don't need much else with this stamp. Here I used it without the vase, so stamping it on the top and the bottom of my slimline card and then painting that in using the no-line watercolor technique. And then this is a more simple version where I've just stamped it in black and then painted in with some pinks and peaches and greens to finish off the card. Another one of our beautiful floral stamps in this collection is 40-848 Iris Elegance. For this card, and again, we'll have more on those dies there to embellish this, but I just stamped it and painted it in using Distress ink re-inkers, and it was stamped in Desert Sand Memento ink, and that gives it that no-line look. And then here is a more simple example where it was stamped in black, painted it in with watercolors, and then embellished with one of our new die cuts, and more on that coming too. But you can see you can get a very different look depending on how you stamp it, how you embellish it, and what you use to color it in. I love these playful daisies. This is 40-851 Daisy Dream. Again, a very simple card. On the flowers, all I did was color in the centers yellow and then add a little bit of color to the vase. But that movement created by the beautiful illustration just finishes off the card. This might be my absolute favorite, maybe, of this collection. It's 40-852 Brilliant. I love these poppies, and I love pairing this kind of coming out of the corner with that die cut border on the side. And like I keep saying, there's more on these dies coming up in the video. I'll give you all the details. This was a no-line watercolor look. This is another second no-line watercolor look on a slimline card where I stamped that one stamp repeatedly to sort of cover the bottom of the card. And then this last example, I've just kept things very simple and stamped in black and painted it in just using one shade of red and one shade of green. And then I did the die cut embellishing just to give it more of a finished look. Here we have 40-853 Dazzling Daffodils. I've done a couple of cards using this stamp. Now, if you want to know all of the exact products used on each card, we will link those for you down on our blog. We'll do a blog post where we show every card with a link to each product used on each specific card. So just check the YouTube description box below for that link. Here's a look at that more simple card. Now here is a clear set, and this has some stunning spring florals in it. This is 30-904 Poise. Here's a very simple card where I've stamped it in black and just use one color for each flower and some colors for the leaves. I love that sentiments keep going, keep growing. Such a positive encouragement sentiment. Here I've used just one of the stamps from that Poise set and stamped it down and painted it in. This is a really fun miniature transparent set, 30-900 Springtide. I did a no line technique on this one layer card, just a little bit of background painting and stamping, and then here I've kept it very simple, stamped it in black and just used one color to paint them in, but you'll notice I just left a little bit of white here and there on those flower petals, and I think that gives it a really fun artsy look, and it's super easy to do. And these tulips are also really fun for using with your critters or combining to create a scene. Another transparent set is 30-906 Loveliness. A really beautiful wreath is included in this. And what I love about floral stamps is that you can use these any time of year, any birthday, summer, spring, even in the winter, encouragement. That's what I love about floral stamping is you can just make these cards, have them ready to go, and just enjoy the process, and they're so versatile. So now we'll take a look at some really charming stamps that are included in this collection. And I wanted to introduce actually the illustrator behind these stamps in this charming part of our collection. It's Anne Keenan Higgins, and this is just a little peek at her Instagram page. I'm going to link her for you down in the description box below. But she does these charming, whimsical illustrations. And what I love is you do not have to do any detailed painting. You can just make cards with these and just enjoy the process. One layer cards are filled with charm. So here's a look at that first cling stamp. Like you can see here, it's just simple, a couple shades of blue, some green. Your painting doesn't have to be perfect. Leave a little white in there, and it just has this really sketchy, charming look. Next is 40-841 Fresh Bouquet. I just love these cheerful flowers spilling out of the teacup. Again, if you look here, it's just very artsy, easy painting, but the illustration is done so beautifully that it's just charming. Just a one layer card, very modern, very charming, fun to do if you're an experienced stamper. Like I loved making these cards. They just brought me so much joy to make them. Also really fun maybe if you're stamping with someone who's new to stamping. You can just have a simple set of watercolors and stamp them down onto your watercolor paper and just make one layer cards. I love her girls that she illustrates too. If you're looking for different ideas on how to paint these, check out her Instagram. It's going to have you so inspired to want to get these stamps and just have lots of fun with the charm of these girls. Here, this one, I did 3 cards with her because I just got on a roll. And I love that with these, you can just go super simple, like just a couple colors and leave a lot in black and white like I've done here too. This is 40-844 How Sweet. I made a set of cards with these, so I stamped it 4 times, and then I even painted all the birds the same, but then I just changed the color on the flowers and changed the sentiments. So it's a really fun way to create a set of cards. This would even be a fun set to gift someone as like a set of cards that they could send out. And the birds are so cheerful. I love how they look like they're kind of chatting there. So you can really add any sentiment to this and it works. And again, the charm of that illustration, it just makes even a one layer card with very simple coloring look great. Here is another. This is 40-845 from my heart. And I'm hoping to have a video for you on this set of cards that I've made with these stamps. So this one here, I've just stamped her onto the card, but if you just stamp the bouquet part of this, you can get a totally different look, which I've done here, stamping the floral bouquet part on the bottom and the top of the card, and then putting my sentiment in the center and a couple of butterflies to embellish. Here is 30-903 Wheelie. So cute. I love the sentiment to have a wheelie great day. This one I just simply watercolored and then fussy cut out and added to a little die cut scene with die cut border and the sentiment up at the top. But I just love this little guy cruising by on his bike. And then if you love cats, this is so cute. Or if you love tea, 30-905 Sweet Sip. And I love the little sentiment that's included with this as well. And here I just fussy cut it out and layered it with a die cut and the sentiment that's a part of this mini transparent set. And more on that die cut is coming, I promise. Next up, we have some fun yoga sets. So this is a sentiment set 30-714 Yoga Builder. Some really great sentiments, even if you don't use them as yoga sentiments. I've kind of snuck them in different places where I felt like they worked really well. And then this mini transparent set 30-907 Balanced. I think that these little critters could not be cuter. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun making these cards, and they're so simple. I just stamped a bunch of the critters and painted them in and cut them out and added them to the sentiment. Along the lines, the yoga theme is 30-902 New Adventures. And here I have stamped and cut out the girl, kept things really simple, just layered her on the die cut border, stamped a sentiment from the set. Here I did a little bit more involved card, doing some stamping for the scene in the background and fussy cut out the girl and added her to the scene. I love that idea of that sort of yoga out in the park, springtime look. Now we couldn't leave out our furry friends, of course. We had a couple already in that very charming set of the collection, but here are some more. If you love dogs, you're going to love this cute critter. This is 30-812 Waggingly Happy. You might want to hit pause and check out the sentiments that go with these two. They're so cute. Here I have just kept things very simple and let my die cutting give him the perfect little places to be popping out and adding some dimension to the card. This is a miniature transparent set, 30-812 8 the Candles. And again, super fun sentiment to go along with this adorable image. And I added some die cuts to the scene here, but you could do so much with this little guy. I mean, really any sentiment, thinking of you, adding more birthday things with him. You could use him any time of year. Also great for masculine cards or kid cards. Here is 30-821 Fetching. Again, so cute. Another great sentiment that goes along with him. I added him to a simple inked background and die cuts. And I just love his eyes and that look in his face. It's just so, so cute. Here we have 30-901 Critter Gifts. We get a cute little bunny hanging some flowers on the door and then also the teddy bear with a springtime flower. So I've made a slimline card with him and fussy cut him out and just added some of the tulips from one of our transparent sets here to keep things nice and springy. And now, as promised, I'll give you the details on the die cuts. Now, this collection has a really great focus on versatile dies. Dies are an investment, and we want to offer you dies that you can use over and over, no matter the season, no matter what style or type of card you're making. So it's really our focus here in this collection for you. This is 51-727 cross stitch borders. Got a couple of dies in here. Here's one where you use it singly just along the side of the card. I think it just perfectly finishes cards. Here I layered them on top of each other so you get a totally different look if you use them together or separate. 51-730 is Vintage Touch. These dies, I think, really add a nice finishing touch. If you've stamped and done your coloring and you're really happy with it, but we want one more thing to finish it off. These are so easy. You can just glue them right on there. You don't have to worry about like stamping it crooked after you've done all your coloring because you can just glue them right on there and position it. You may have noticed a lot of butterflies on these cards. They all come from 51-731 Soaring, but not only do you get these great sizes of butterflies, you also get this great sort of background piece. And so you can position your elements inside of it. You could put die cut flowers in there. Again, you can get lots and lots of uses out of it. And like I said, I've been popping these butterflies everywhere. I love the size. I love the simplicity of them. They really make a nice finishing touch without distracting from the other elements on your card. This die is 51-732 Ornate Frames. I think this is a really unique set. It's beautiful for springtime, but I also think this would be really nice at Christmas too if you're making some sort of elegant Christmas cards. So you get all of the frames that are stacked up, but then you also get these corner pieces that you can add to your frames. I've kept things tone on tone, but you could do them in different colors. You could cut them from gold if you wanted it to be very ornate and very elegant. So lots of different ways that you can use that. You can also use just the frames pieces on their own. So if you want to make a shaped card or if you want to cut this shape and layer it onto your card, you can. I've done a couple of cards like that, just adding a torn corner, but that beautiful shape just makes a simple stamping and simple coloring look finished. You can also run 2 through at a time in order to cut a frame like this, and I've done that and popped it up on my card. I love the look of that. Here's another super versatile 51-729. I've done cards where I've just run this right down the side and I love the texture it instantly adds. And again, you can use this for any type of card, any style, any season. So these are a great investment that you'll be reaching for again and again. This is 51-728 Cloudy. And I love the different sizes that you get with this and just that extra little touch of detail within the clouds. I think it just makes them extra special. Now this next is a slimline die. This is 51-733 Slimline Zigzag. So it does have an element of the zigzag stitching, or you can use just the zigzag alone around the outer edge like I've done on this card. It's a simple touch, but I think it again just finishes things off and you can use it for any style and any time of year. So you can see here florals, Easter. I mean, I just could not get enough of this. I used it on so many cards. I just loved what it added to the finished product. Here I've used just the stitching element. So you can do that and just use it separately without, or you can put all the pieces together, the one that cuts the squares with the stitching, the outer stitching, and that outer zigzag border. Now we do have new masterpieces made simple. These are our pre-printed panels that you can add to your cards for truly to have a masterpiece card made so simply. The first set of these is 50-007 Vintage Beauty. I love these flowers. They're so soft and just beautiful. Lots of different ways you can use them. And then here, super bright, super happy is 50-008 Bright Bouquets. Now what we like to do is take dies that work really well with these and sort of curate them for you and show you how you can, with these masterpieces made simple and a couple of dies, you can really make these your own in a finished card. So Simple Stackers is one of the dies that we've curated. This was in a past collection, but we really pulled it out and it goes so beautifully with these masterpieces made simple. Look at that, just white on white with the Simple Stackers die, and you have a beautiful finished card. You can stamp your sentiments on the front, you can add a sentiment to the inside. But just those two elements together, I love these. I wish you could see them in person because they're even prettier in person. Now, another die that works beautifully with these new Masterpieces Made Simple is our 51-418 wavy stitch edges. Here you can see you can run that, cut it real small, sort of tuck one of those Masterpieces Made Simple into it. You could also run it along the bottom and use it with the landscape sized Masterpieces Made Simple, but just that little touch of stitching and that curve, not stitching, but sort of that design of that die looks so pretty. Here I actually used it on the Masterpieces Made Simple panel itself and then added it to another piece of cardstock. I love that look. That's so easy, but just makes it your own. This is a really nice sentiment die that works well with these 51-420 Bloom Magical. You can see how nicely that fits right onto that Masterpieces Made Simple panel. I've also combined it with that textural die we saw earlier, our new die. So those versatile dies that I just showed you work really well with these. So for example, here is the 51-733 Slimline Zigzag. And then I'm also going to use a die here from 51-643 Tropical Paradise. And what I love with that slimline zigzag is you can cut those 4 squares that just run one pass. We'll cut those out, and you can take these Masterpieces Made Simple, just one, and cut it to fit behind each of those windows. And it looks so pretty just like that. I added just those extra dies, those butterflies that I love, and it finished off the card beautifully. Using that same layout and the slimline zigzag die set and also the hydrangea set, here I created another card, tucking those masterpieces behind those windows. Just turned out so pretty, so easy and simple, but beautiful as well. I sure hope you've enjoyed taking a look at our springtime collection. I will link all of everything that you need down in the YouTube description box below, links to these new products, to our blog that will have direct links for each product so it's easy to find, and all the links where you can connect with us like Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram, all linked below. Thanks for watching.